Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Thursday, February 2nd, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The United States Ambassador to Albania, Mr. Donald Liu, issued strong accusations today against the Prosecutor General, Adriatic Lala. Making an address at the We the People Citizens Inclusiveness and Direct Democracy Conference, the U.S. ambassador declared that the chief prosecutor has spoken against the judicial reform. The ambassador also said that the prosecutor general is trying to have the courts and prosecution under his control, and that the chief prosecutor has made efforts to seize the server of the High Inspectorate, a declaration and audit of assets and conflict of interest. We are already seeing powerful people try to maintain their control over the courts and over the prosecutor, said Liu. The most recent example of this is the action of Albania's Prosecutor General. For more than 18 months, he has consistently and loudly spoken out against the judicial reform. In November and December, prosecutors tried and failed to seize the HIDAACI computer servers that are vital for the vetting, said Liu. The U.S. diplomat appealed to civil society, to international partners, and to the media to keep a sharp eye out for those who are corrupt and will try to steal the elections, the judicial reform, and the country's democracy. The U.S. ambassador called on civil society and the media, especially, to be careful as corrupt politicians are trying to steal the elections. If we, civil society, international partners, and the media are not eagle-eyed, corrupt politicians, judges, prosecutors, and criminal bosses will try to steal this election, the judicial reform, and everything else in this economy. These people are particularly afraid of domestic election monitors and those who safeguard direct democracy, Liu stated. Ambassador Liu added that prosecutors and judges from the European Union and the U.S. will arrive in Tirana by next week to be part of the international monitoring operation. Albania's Prosecution General reacted to the U.S. ambassador's accusations, calling them undiplomatic. A representative of the Prosecution General read the reaction of the Chief Prosecutor, declaring that this is not the first time the Prosecution General has been faced with such attacks. The prosecution rep said that the Prosecution General has supported the judicial reform since the beginning, saying, "The prosecution wants to make clear to the U.S. ambassador that he may be used to being a god in Albanian politics, but he cannot do this in the prosecution institution. Mr. Liu thinks he has the prosecution's fate in his hands when he blackmails the institution to close some investigation by revoking visas. He and everyone else should bear in mind that the prosecutors of the Republic of Albania do not need a visa to fulfill its constitutional obligations. The U.S. ambassador is trying to manipulate public opinion and undermine the institutions." The prosecution's representative said that the U.S. ambassador's statements come after the Prosecution General sent a letter to the President and the Assembly Speaker notifying them about the continuous pressure and blackmail the U.S. ambassador makes to the Prosecution General. A few minutes after the Prosecution General responded to the U.S. ambassador, accusing him of blackmail and undiplomatic stances, the Prosecutor General held a meeting with President Nishani. The meeting lasted for only a few minutes, and according to Aura News sources, the focus of the meeting was the situation created with the U.S. ambassador's statement. At the same time that the Prosecutor General was holding a meeting with President Nishani, the U.S. ambassador's vehicle was seen outside the Prime Minister's office and then outside other ministry buildings where he held meetings. These developments happened after the Prosecutor General publicized the letter he had sent to the President and the Assembly Speaker, in which he expressed his concern about the open pressuring by the U.S. ambassador. Prosecutor General is accusing the U.S. ambassador of supporting political segments connected to Soros and of blackmailing the MPs to vote in favor of the judicial reform, and of also blackmailing the prosecution over several issues. The media reported that the president has refused a meeting with the U.S. ambassador, but the news has not been confirmed by either the president's office or by the U.S. embassy. Prime Minister Rama was invited to our program tonight, Ilvatara, where he admitted that the dismissal of the Minister of Justice was made due to the statements Mr. Manjani made, which the Prime Minister feels violated the government's ethical code. The Prime Minister said Mr. Manjani is an opinion maker and not a minister. A serious government cannot exist if a minister does not respect the team, the rules, and above all, the obligations. A minister's duty is to the task his portfolio covers and not being an opinion maker. It is not a problem to do this out of the government. The government has approved, with consensus, an ethical code which determines the relation of any member of the government with the government and the citizens. The minister has the duty to speak with the citizens and serve them as a member of the government, said Rama. Regarding the statements of the Minister of Environment against the state police, the Prime Minister said that he has warned the Minister of Environment previously. I can tell the difference between a minister who has repeatedly violated the government's ethical code and one who has violated our agreement with the other citizens and another minister who has made a mistake. I am convinced this will not be repeated. In the case of the other minister, we are talking about a member of government who has done his duty and has respected the team, declared the Prime Minister. Both ministers accused the state police of cooperating with cannabis cultivators. However, the Prime Minister says these are the signs of nervousness as the elections are coming. As for the Minister of Interior, the Prime Minister declared that no one from the government or international partners has asked for that minister's dismissal. Regarding the coalition with the Socialist Movement for Integration, the Prime Minister said that it has never been questioned, but that it is not only the Socialist Party's hands. Concerning the new ally, the Party for Justice, Integrity and Unity, the Prime Minister said that the invitation for them to join the coalition was made by both the Socialist Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration. Commenting on the election of the new president, the Prime Minister said that it is the coalition's duty to propose a name, which can also be a person outside the ruling coalition. The Prime Minister announced that he will not attend tomorrow's National Security Council meeting to discuss the failure of arresting Clement Balili, which the President will gather at the Assembly Speaker's request. However, he denies any claims that he does not have the resolve to arrest Balili. The President has announced he will gather the National Security Council tomorrow at noon to discuss the Clement Balili issues. The Council will gather at the Assembly Speaker's request in the aftermath of the failure to arrest the fugitive Balili. The Prime Minister is on an official visit to Kosovo and has requested that the Vice Prime Minister be his substitute at the Council meeting. Sources from the President's office told an Aura News journalist that the President sent a letter to the Prime Minister which says that the Prime Minister has no objective reasons not to be present at the meeting, which was announced several days ago. The Prime Minister went to Kosovo today. His first meeting with Kosovo officials was held at the headquarters of the Alliance for Kosovo's Future, whose leader is in France, waiting for the French court's decision for whether he will be extradited to Serbia or not. Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta participated today at the Electoral Convention of Administrative Unit No. 1 in Tirana, where he declared that the politicians in Albania create artificial and unnecessary conflicts. The Socialist Movement for Integration chairman stressed the need for positive energy, which he says only the Socialist Movement for Integration is spreading. All this hatred this last 26 years is unacceptable because it is an artificial conflict. Society needs balance. Society asks for solutions to problems, not conflicts. The Socialist Movement for Integration is focused on problems and has strategic goals for the development and stability of the country and for its modernization, declared Meta. The SMI chairman responded to the Vice Prime Minister's declaration made several days ago that the allies have a tactic approach to the coalition. According to the chairman, the Socialist Movement for Integration's advantage is its strategic patience and staying close to the people. The Socialist Movement for Integration's advantage is that it has strategic patience. The SMI is for the people and stands with the people for their employment and inclusiveness, declared Meta. Even with the Prime Minister's declaration yesterday evening on Tonight Ilvatara, that the ruling coalition is functioning well, the allies continue to show tensions between them. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Marian on behalf of Aura News. Thank you and good night.